Hey guys, welcome to Waypoint X. My name is Judd, and this is Waypoint X Wednesdays, so stay tuned. Well, welcome back, guys, to Waypoint X Wednesdays. This is our podcast that happens on Wednesdays called Waypoint X Wednesdays. So, to get started today, guys, all of our information is going to be in the description below. So if you ever have a question about anything, go check out the description below. Guys, also, all of our podcasts are over on Spotify now. So go over there, give us a follow, give us a review. We really would appreciate it. But if you're over on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, leave us a like, leave us a comment, and hit that bell for all notifications. We really do appreciate it. And whether you're on Spotify or you're on YouTube, we would really appreciate it if you'd give us possibly, a topic for what we would talk about. We've had a ton come in, and for today's episode, it is all about myths of off-roading, and it comes to us by Joe out in Texas, our good buddy that we will with all the time. He said to talk about off-roading events and some of the myths that are associated with that. And so we really do appreciate it. He runs Amarillo Axles and Accessories out in Amarillo, Texas. So if you need your Jeep worked on, go out there and he'll hook you up and tell him Waypoint X sent you. So we really do appreciate him. And we talked to him earlier this week, and he was like, man, I've got a great idea for the show. And he said we should do this. So in honor of him, we're going to do it. So let's get started. So myths of off-roading events. Guys, we have been to many events all over the country, whether it's all the way out in California, and that's like a 3+ day drive for us out here in Alabama. We've been to Texas. We've been to Tennessee, Arkansas, Missouri. I'm trying to think all the other places we've been to. Alabama, Kentucky, North Carolina. We've been to a lot of different events all over. And we've never really had a bad experience except maybe one, and it was just, I think it was during the COVID era, and so, that was just a weird time for everybody, so we'll let that one slip by. But we've got 3 main talking points today, and we're going to keep them short because we like to keep these episodes really short, nice, and sweet, so, if you're on your drive to work in the morning and you want to listen, or just, sitting down after a long day at work, it's just 15, 20 minutes of your time, and we can hit some major topics in the off-roading world. So to get started, on our top 3 myths that we have is money. Guys, it's not super expensive to go to some of these events. And I know everybody's budget is different because your income looks different than my income, and vice versa versus, your neighbor. And so I understand that budget is the name of the game and how much money you're spending on these events. But me and a buddy of mine were talking about it the other day, and, let's just take a trip to the beach. So a lot of people in our neck of the woods, and so I understand that if you're in Missouri or South Dakota, beach is not really close to you. So you can't really understand our world where we're only like, Caitlin's filming, but 4 or 5 hours away from the beach. And so, you go to the beach and everybody's having a good time, and especially if you have kids, you're going to the go-kart track. And next thing you know, you spend $100, $200 in a night just riding go-karts around. Well, guys, that same money could be going to an event that is roughly the same price per day if you think about it, especially if they're providing food, if they've got good trail guides, if they have provided the fees for the park, things of that nature. It really comes down to not being not that expensive. So one of the most expensive trips that we were a part of was the Rubicon Trail trip with Jeep Jamboree. Now, when we did it, what was that, 4 years ago or more or so? Caitlin's shaking her head behind the camera. That was like over $500 a ticket, or roughly that. And I think it's almost $600 now because of inflation, things of that nature. But that was $500 per person, so $1,000 total. But that included a lot. And so we had never been to California. I've never done the Rubicon Trail. That's a decently long trail with constant obstacles, left and right. And being that far away from home, you don't really know where you're at or what you're doing. And so we went with Jeep Jamboree the first time. And what that got was trail guides. That got us the day of the event, like before you started the trail, you got breakfast. You got an awesome sack lunch, Ours even had chicken tenders in it. It got you dinner that night, and then the next day it got you breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I do believe, and then the final morning out, I think it got you breakfast. So I mean, that's a lot of meals and time. And they brought a baby grand piano in via helicopter and played it at Rubicon Springs while you were eating. And I mean, you're getting your T-shirt and the swag bag and things of that nature as well. And that that all comes into the cost. No matter what event it is, your money. You're not getting a free T-shirt or event T-shirt. You're paying for that somewhere. So doesn't matter what event, whether it's Jeep Jamboree or somewhere else, you are paying for it somewhere down the list item. So don't let them fool you on that. But that was worth it to us. Not to have to worry about where we're going, not to have to worry about a map, because the Rubicon can be kind of be a little tricky here and there. Not if you've done it 100 times, but we have never done it. The meals were great. We didn't have to bring any food, and sometimes that can be a problem. And just the security, because we knew that we had trail guides that not only could trail guide us through the right obstacles and not beat up our rig while we're across the country, but they could repair it. And so they had mechanics on staff for Jeep Jamboree. I think they had like 2 or 3 rigs. That's all they did, was just constantly repair rigs as they broke. And so that is, that is a huge, huge thing that these events have. Now, I will not say all events have these things, but just in Jeep Jamboree perspective, they do. And so that is just an awesome thing to have. And when you're thinking about events, especially Jeep Jamborees, yeah, does it look like a lot of money up front? Yeah, because then you got to, if you're not doing the Rubicon Trail, because the Rubicon Trail, is a little different. But let's just say you come to the one at Stony. And so the one at Stony, you're getting a few meals, you're getting the trail guides, you're getting the T-shirt, things of that nature. But then, the stuff that you don't think about, the hotel fees and things of that nature, but the price that you pay Jeep Jamboree is really not that bad for everything you get. And so that's just what I'm trying to say, guys, is that, a day at the beach or an off-roading trip, if you think about it, at the end of the day, it probably evens up and it's pretty close. Or a trip to the mountains if you like the mountains, not the beach. I'm not a big beach guy. I'm the mountains guy. So that's kind of where we're at with that. But going back to price, it's not as bad as what everybody says it is. And when we do our events, I've had people complain to us saying that our events are expensive for just a day trip. Well, go back to the beach event. You're going to go spend $200 on go-karts, for you and your kids or whatever. Well, why would you not spend that money possibly trail guiding and not having to worry about where you're going and reading a map for several hours and then wasting time? We're a full shop basically when we go out to an event. I mean, we've got welders, grinders, things of that nature. We're going to get you out off the trail. And most times we bring a trailer. And so we had one Black Friday, where we actually trailered someone home. So guys, you got to think about all those things, and especially in the Jeep Jamboree world, and then I'll get on to the next topic, is they have so many resources and they can phone a friend and really help you out. And so whether, we're going to the Polidora Challenge or we're going somewhere else, people have resources and they can make things happen. And so don't forget that. Going on to number 2, I know I was a little long-winded in that one, but going on to number 2, we have experience. People think you have to have experience to go on these. No, brand new people can go on these. And people think, in our last talking point, I'll go into this, is about damage, but let's go about experience first. You don't have to have it, but you don't think that just because you're inexperienced that you're going to tear up your rig at the same time. And like I said, number 2 and number 3 in our order today can go hand in hand. But people go out to Jeep Jamborees all the time that have no experience. We do events for people who have zero experience. And people hate on parks such as Stony and things of that nature because they see videos of me crawling, Gutbuster, or me crawling the ledges or rock Garden or Rock Creek or Yeti Bottoms, things of that nature. And they're like, man, that is crazy. I would never do that. But guys, there is so much more to these parks. I could take you a whole day at Stony Lonesome and one, never get you stuck. Two, you barely even rock crawl, and you just have a good time out on the trail, and it would never be anything crazy. I could absolutely do that and have a really fun-filled day. The only thing, going back into the damage, because I'll kind of swap between number 2 and number 3 today, is, when you go off-road, you have to expect a little damage, whether it's, maybe a little rock rash on the wheels and tires, or pinstriping, so, sticks and things just kind of scraping up your vehicle a little bit. Guys, that's going to happen, but don't think that your experience level is going to make that not happen. I've been wheeling for many, many years, and my Jeep still looks like there's pinstripes and it's got rock rash and things of that nature. So don't think that that's not going to happen just because you might, have a little bit more seat time than somebody else. There's also this myth going into experience that you're going to get, looked down upon. No, the Jeep community, if you're going to the right event, should be welcoming to that. We want more people in this community experiencing off-road, because there's a lot of places in this world that you can't go to without a vehicle. You might be able to bike or hike there, but it's going to take you a hot minute. But you can see so much of the world that is so awesome and so beautiful with your Jeep. So, guys, if you don't have experience, just sign up for one. If you need some, suggestions on where to go, please send us an email. Please leave us a comment. We would love to help. Like I said, all of our information will be in the description below, so you can go check us out on our website, which is www.waypointx.net, and we'd be more than happy to help you any way we possibly can on, what events that, would be a good starter event and kind of get your feet wet. But guys, don't think that you don't have any experience, or an experience can go with, Jeep, your build level as well. So don't think that just because you have 33s and no lift that you can't do anything. This last Stony Jeep Jamboree that I was a trail guide for, we had a Jeep on, it was like Caitlin 33s. It was a JL stock. It had like the factory bumpers and steps on it, and it went everywhere. We did 2 badge of honors with that Jeep. We used the skid plates a little bit, and maybe had to give it a little gas here and there because it didn't have lockers or anything like that, but we got that Jeep around everywhere, and there was no damage to that Jeep. It was fine at the end of the weekend, and she drove it home. So don't think that you're just going to beat it up. Take your time. If you don't feel comfortable, tell them. Tell the trail guide, hey, I don't feel comfortable doing that, or I don't want to get damage, or this, that, and the other, because most events will have, an easier ride, maybe an advanced ride to a little bit harder ride, and then they'll have like the hardcore, people who are, buggies and things of that nature. And so, start in that basic ride that's just for stock people, 33s, and see what you can do there. And then maybe the next event you might want to be like, well, we want to step it up one notch from that and just kind of progress. And a good thing about that is, one, you're getting seat time. So you're understanding how that vehicle works, but you're also seeing other vehicles out on the trail that are possibly, one step above yours as far as, the parts that are on them and upgrades. And that way you can kind of see where your Jeep progression is. And maybe you find the lift kit that you want. Maybe you find the wheel and tire combo you want. It's a good way to kind of see parts and how they work, because them sitting on a showroom shelf or a picture in a catalog or online just doesn't do it. When you see those parts at work on the trail, that's okay. I want that lift because that one performed the best, and that's how it should be set up and things of that nature. So you can kind of figure all that out. And then the tie into the last point that we have is damage, and we talked about that a little bit earlier. Is everybody's so scared that they're going to get damage on their vehicle, and that's really what Joe, when we talked about earlier this week, that he wanted us to hit on, was that when you go to these events, you're just going to damage your vehicle. And I just don't think that's the case. Now, granted, if I tell you to go driver, and you go passenger and you run into a tree, that's not my fault. Or if I tell you to hit the brake and you hit the gas pedal, that's not my fault. You got to have a little bit of driving, behind your belt, and understand those, how everything works in your vehicle. and just kind of take it slow. But having a good trail guide, taking it slow, going into the stock group, figuring out how your Jeep works, you're not going to get damage. And then you're going to build upon that to where your vehicle can do more and more and more, and where to upgrade and where not to upgrade. A famous quote is, lockers before light bars. So those lights aren't going to get you anywhere. The lockers will. So, upgrading the drive shafts and the axle shafts and the steering and, putting lockers in it before you put all these flashy light bars on it. I understand it's your money. That's great and all, but they're not going to get you off the trail. Putting the bumpers on it, the sliders on it, the winch on it, which is key. Recovery before anything is my motto, because I rather have a winch, a good bumper with a winch and recovery gear over lockers and sliders. That's just me, because if I get stuck, I want to get out. So all that should be before you put your first light bar on it. That's just me, because that light bar is not going to get you out of the woods. It might shine the woods up, for your camping spot for the night because you're stuck out there, but that's about it until your battery dies. So, like I said, you don't have to have damage. We've done stock rides with Waypoint X and don't have any issues. Never had a problem with the stock ride, and that way you can kind of get your feet wet and understand your Jeep and understand how everything's working and how the off-road world, works, and the scene, and if you want to be a part of that. Because I really, truly encourage you to get off-road. Find a good event, do your research. Hopefully they have some videos on YouTube, kind of like in our last episode. Research it. Look what kind of trails they're doing. See what kind of obstacles they're doing. And make sure that that event has good reviews and that they have good trail guides and solid trails and beautiful scenery. And don't worry about the cost, because I promise you it'll be worth it, especially for one that is highly recommended, especially a Jeep Jamboree or the Polydera Challenge, things of that nature. Those are the best places to get great experience. And then, like, you find friends along the way, kind of like Clayton and Joe and things of that nature. I find probably 99.9% of my friends that I wheel with on a yearly basis off-road every time. I don't find my friends usually in a parking lot, and that's not saying I can't, but usually I find the people that I wheel with every single weekend off-road on a trail. That's how we met our good buddy Colton that helps us here at Waypoint X Garage. And you'll see him from time to time on the videos, us out there wheeling with him. We literally found him wheeling at Stony because we were at Stony doing some pre-running, and we were actually getting somebody unstuck, and he just happened upon us and followed us the rest of the day as we were kind of pre-running the park. And then, next thing you know, you got a group full of wheeling buddies all over the country, and it's just a great time, a great experience. And I call Joe and everybody from basically on a weekly basis, bouncing ideas off of each other and just living this off-road lifestyle. And it's absolutely amazing. And you can't meet you meet some of the best people in this world, and all the drama, the political craziness, and just, what's on the news every day just goes away. And it's just raw. It's just about Jeeps and off-roading and having a good time. And how can we do this better? How can I install this better? Where do I want to go on my next adventure? Where's your next destination? Things of that nature. And it's just an amazing time. But guys, I'm just rambling on at this point, and we need to close up shop. So guys, we really do appreciate you tuning in. And I hope I answered some of these myths that are in the off-roading, about these off-roading events. I hope I've answered some. If I didn't answer your question, please leave a comment below. But guys, if you're on Spotify, hit that follow button, leave us a review, and we'll see you next week and on Waypoint X Wednesday. But we need some topics, guys. I've got a ton of topics that we're kind of feeding through. We've got a bunch that we've written down, but we really want to hear from you. But if you're on YouTube, hit that bell for all notifications, leave us a comment, hit that subscribe button, all of that goodness. And also go check us on Facebook and Instagram, because we're constantly posting about different things and when these videos drop. So we really do appreciate it, and we hope to see you out on the trail.